At 80 years old, Eric Clapton has lived through decades of music, fame, controversy, and deeply personal struggles. But perhaps nothing in his long, storied life has been more complicated than his relationship with George Harrison, a friendship and rivalry that continues to fascinate fans even today. When Clapton finally chose to open up and tell the full truth about George, it wasn't just about the music they made together or the iconic moments they shared. It was about the raw human story of two men whose lives were forever intertwined, sometimes beautifully, sometimes painfully, in ways few could have imagined. Their friendship began in the late 1960s, when Clapton, already building his reputation as one of the greatest guitarists alive, connected with George, who was then struggling to establish his own identity within the Beatles, overshadowed by Lennon and McCartney. Clapton admired George's quiet humility, his spiritual side, and his subtle but masterful guitar work. And in return, George saw in Clapton a kindred spirit, someone who understood the language of music without needing words. The bond grew stronger when Clapton was invited to play the searing guitar solo on Harrison's "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," a collaboration that became legendary and symbolized their mutual respect. But beneath the harmony lay tensions that would one day spill into the open. Clapton has now admitted that his love for George's wife, Pattie Boyd, created a storm he could never fully control, confessing that falling in love with her while still considering George his closest friend tore him apart inside. And yet, he couldn't deny the feelings that consumed him, leading to some of his most powerful songs like Layla, which was both a confession and a cry of pain. When George eventually found out, many assumed the friendship would end forever. But Clapton insists the truth is far more complex. George, instead of reacting with bitterness, responded with a mixture of sadness and acceptance, even attending Clapton and Pattie's wedding years later, a gesture that showed the depth of his spiritual outlook on life and love. Clapton has revealed that while George may have forgiven, he never forgot, and that unspoken tension remained between them for the rest of their lives, coloring their interactions with a bittersweet undertone that neither man could fully shake. Yet in moments of music, all conflict seemed to vanish, whether during their collaborations with the traveling Wilburys or in benefit concerts like the iconic Concert for George after Harrison's passing in 2001, where Clapton poured every ounce of love, regret, and respect into the performance, making it clear to the world that despite everything, George remained one of the most important figures in his life. Now, looking back with the wisdom of age, Clapton admits that George was not just a friend, but also a mirror, reflecting both his best qualities and his deepest flaws, and that their relationship was less about rivalry and more about an enduring connection shaped by music, love, jealousy, and forgiveness. Telling the truth at last, Clapton acknowledges that losing George to cancer left a hole in his soul that will never heal, and that no matter how many stages he's played, awards he's won, or songs he's written, there will always be a part of him that longs for one more conversation, one more jam session, one more chance to say thank you. It is this honesty, raw and unfiltered, that makes Clapton's reflection on George Harrison so moving, reminding the world that even legends carry wounds, and that behind the music, fame, and headlines were simply two men bound together by fate, friendship, and the kind of truth that only time could finally bring to light.